They don't appear in official casualty reports. Their missions don't make the news until years later, if ever. When a government needs something done that conventional armies cannot do, cannot be seen doing, or cannot admit to doing, these are the men they call. 15 countries, 15 units. One simple question: what does it take to become the most dangerous person on the planet? Delta Force, United States officially, it does not exist. The Pentagon does not confirm its existence. Operators are listed under cover units with false job titles. Formed in 1977 by Colonel Charlie Beckwith after he spent time embedded with the British SAS and concluded that America had nothing comparable. Delta Force, officially the 1st Special Forces Operational Detachment Delta, is drawn from the Green Berets and the 75th Ranger Regiment, then filtered again through a selection process that runs 6 months. The attrition rate exceeds 90%. Candidates are not told whether they passed or failed. They are simply told to report to a new location, or not. Delta killed Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, the founder of Al-Qaeda in Iraq, in 2006. Delta killed Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the founder of ISIS, in a night raid in northwestern Syria in 2019. It has no official motto. Its operators carry no unit insignia on their uniforms. The most powerful military on Earth hides its sharpest blade in a blank scabbard. SEAL Team 6, United States. On May 2nd, 2011, 23 operators landed in Abbottabad, Pakistan, without the knowledge of the Pakistani government, killed Osama bin Laden, and were wheels up before Islamabad knew they had been there. Officially designated DevGRU, SEAL Team 6 is the US Navy's Tier 1 counterterrorism unit. BUD/S training runs 24 weeks with an 80% dropout rate. Green Team, the selection pipeline into SEAL Team 6 itself, drops a further 50%. The Bin Laden raid was completed in 38 minutes. America fields 2 Tier 1 units because one might not be enough. 22 SAS, United Kingdom founded in 1941 by David Sterling to destroy German aircraft behind enemy lines. The SAS invented modern special operations. Every elite unit in the world built its doctrine on the SAS model. Selection runs 28 weeks in the Brecon Beacons. The final phase includes resistance to interrogation, 5 days of sleep deprivation and psychological pressure designed to simulate capture. The Iranian embassy siege, 1980, 6 terrorists, 6 hostages, live television, 17 minutes. All terrorists neutralized, all hostages alive. The world watched. Every government on earth took notes. Sayeret Matkal, Israel's most secretive unit, operates under military intelligence, not Special Forces Command, because its primary mission is not combat. It is information. It recruited and trained Benjamin Netanyahu. It recruited and trained Ehud Barak. On July 4th, 1976, its operators flew 2,500 miles to Entebbe, Uganda, stormed a terminal held by hijackers, and rescued 102 hostages in 53 minutes. The unit's existence was classified until 1980. Its selection process, doctrine, and current roster remain entirely classified. The only thing confirmed: it operates where no other Israeli unit can reach. Alpha Group, Russia's premier counterterrorism unit, operates under the FSB, formed in 1974 to protect Soviet leadership from internal and external threats. In October 2002, Alpha responded to the Moscow theater crisis. 850 hostages, 40 Chechen terrorists. They pumped an aerosolized chemical agent through the ventilation system, stormed the theater in 3 minutes, and killed all 40 terrorists. 130 hostages also died from the gas. Alpha's calculus is different from Western units. Mission success is defined by eliminating the threat. The cost is a separate equation. Spetsnaz GRU, Russia. While Alpha handles terrorism, Spetsnaz GRU handles warfare. Saboteurs, assassins, and unconventional warfare specialists trained to destroy command infrastructure, assassinate senior officers, and collapse enemy communication networks before conventional forces arrive. In Afghanistan, GRU units tracked Mujahideen supply routes through the Hindu Kush mountains for weeks at a time, operating with no resupply and no extraction plan, calling in strikes and executing ambushes in terrain where the enemy held every geographic advantage. In Ukraine, since 2022, GRU units have conducted targeted assassination attempts against Ukrainian military commanders and civilian leadership. Several narrowly failed. Their foundational doctrine has not changed in 60 years. When the war officially begins, the enemy's decision-making structure should already be dead. They are the blade that arrives before the sword is drawn. J.W. Grom, Poland. Grom, the Polish word for thunder, was established in 1990 after Poland realized it had no unit capable of protecting a secret operation to extract hundreds of Jewish refugees from the Soviet Union if it were compromised. In 2003, Grom operators and US Navy SEALs jointly secured Iraqi oil infrastructure in a night assault on the Khor Abdallah waterway. Their performance was described by US commanders as indistinguishable from their own operators. NATO considers Grom one of the 3 most capable special operations units in the alliance. Poland is not a global superpower. Its special forces operate as if it is. KSK, Germany, Germany's Kommando Spezialkräfte, was formed in 1996 after the Rwandan genocide, demonstrated that Germany had no unit capable of rapidly extracting civilians from active conflict zones. It was built in the long shadow of post-war pacifism with a specific political constraint. It must be capable of lethal force while remaining politically defensible to a German public that has been deeply uncomfortable with military power since 1945. KSK operates in Afghanistan, Mali, and Somalia, though Germany rarely confirms specific operations or acknowledges casualties. Selection runs 100 days of continuous evaluation across mountain, urban, and maritime environments. Language requirements include 2 foreign languages at operational level, a standard almost no other Special Forces program imposes. In 2003, KSK operators rescued 2 German engineers held hostage by armed militants in the Sahara Desert. The details of the operation remain partially classified. It is Europe's most capable Special Forces unit that almost no one is allowed to talk about. GIGN, France created after the 1972 Munich Olympics massacre so France would never again be helpless when its citizens were taken hostage. December 26, 1994, 4 terrorists hijacked Air France flight 8969 with 227 passengers, planning to detonate the aircraft over the Eiffel Tower. GIGN disguised operators as airport workers, boarded during refueling in Marseille, and assaulted. 3 terrorists killed in the first 15 seconds, the 4th neutralized in a bathroom. All 227 passengers survived. The GIGN principle: negotiate until negotiation ends, then end the threat in seconds. Over 1,000 hostage situations since 1974. Failure rate, 0. FSK, Norway. The Forsvarets Spesialkommando is one of NATO's most classified units, and deliberately so. Norway's strategic vulnerability is purely geographic. 2,650 kilometers of coastline, Arctic territory sharing a border with Russia, and terrain that renders conventional military defense nearly impossible without months of reinforcement. FSK trains specifically for sustained Arctic warfare at temperatures reaching minus 40 degrees Celsius, maritime infiltration along Norway's fjord-cut coastline, and the rapid defense of offshore oil and gas infrastructure, the most economically critical targets in the country, worth hundreds of billions of dollars and entirely exposed to sabotage. In any Russian hybrid operation against Norway, FSK would be the first line of response, and likely the only one, for days before NATO reinforcements could arrive. Publicly confirmed, FSK operators have served alongside Delta Force and SEAL Team 6 in both Afghanistan and Iraq. America brings its best. Norway brings theirs. They operate as equals. SASR, Australia. Australia's Special Air Service Regiment made British SAS selection harder. 5 weeks across Western Australia's desert and bush, loads beginning at 25 kilograms and increasing throughout. Attrition rate, 80%. In Afghanistan, SASR operated in Uruzgan province, terrain so remote that resupply by helicopter was frequently impossible. Operators conducted multi-week foot patrols with no external support. 3-man teams calling in airstrikes and executing raids alone. The unit has been awarded more decorations per capita than any other in the Australian Defence Force. The continent at the edge of the world produces warriors at the edge of human capability. 707th SMB, South Korea, formed after North Korean commandos infiltrated Seoul in 1968 and reached within 100 meters of the presidential residence before being stopped. The attack made one thing clear. South Korea had no unit capable of responding to elite unconventional threats at that speed and that proximity. Selection accepts fewer than 5% of applicants. Operators must hold black belt proficiency in at least one martial art. And marksmanship qualification requires 100-meter pistol accuracy that would place them in international competition. The unit trains extensively in tunnel warfare. The North Korean underground network beneath the DMZ runs for hundreds of kilometers and represents a potential infiltration route that conventional forces cannot effectively monitor. In any Second Korean War, the 707th's first mission would not be to fight North Korean infantry on the front line. It would be to find and neutralize North Korea's own special operations units before they reach South Korean cities. SSG, Pakistan Special Services Group, was formed in 1956 with direct American assistance and spent the following decades becoming one of the most combat-experienced counter-terrorism forces in the world, largely invisible to Western media. SSG has operated in some of the most punishing terrain on Earth. The mountains of the Afghan border region at altitudes exceeding 6,000 meters, where helicopters lose lift capacity and even acclimatized soldiers struggle to sustain combat effectiveness. Their mountain warfare school trains operators specifically for combat above 4,000 meters, in conditions that would end most military careers. Selection includes a 36-mile march that must be completed in 12 hours in the mountains, carrying a full combat load. That school is located in Abbottabad, the same city where Osama bin Laden lived in his compound for 5 years. SSG operators were stationed 3 kilometers away when SEAL Team 6 arrived. Pakistan's most elite soldiers were close enough to hear the helicopters. Marcos, India. The Marine Commandos carry a selection rejection rate of 98%, the highest of any documented Special Forces unit in the world. Of every 100 candidates, 2 pass. Training runs 3 years. In 2008, when Pakistani-trained terrorists attacked Mumbai over 3 days and killed 166 people, Marcos were among the first responders at the Taj Mahal Hotel. They fought room by room in a building they had never entered against an enemy prepared to die, with civilians still hiding inside. The 98% who failed selection were not present. The 2% who passed were SAT/Bordo Bereliler, Turkey, NATO's most combat-experienced special forces unit that no one discusses. Since the 1980s, Bordo Bereliler, the Maroon Berets, have conducted sustained operations against PKK insurgents in the mountains of southeastern Turkey, northern Iraq, and northern Syria. Unlike most special forces that deploy in rotations measured in months, their operators have been in continuous combat for decades. Their urban warfare doctrine was developed in the streets of Cizre and Sur, their mountain doctrine on the peaks of Kandil. When Turkey deployed to Libya and Syria, Bordo Bereliler were first in and last out. Experience cannot be simulated. Turkey's most elite operators have more of it than almost anyone.